Hi everyone. So I suppose the little two-sentence introduction to the Creative Ireland programme, we're kind of an unusual beast. We were set up about 6 years ago with two big, hairy, audacious goals by the Irish government. The first was to demonstrate how doing creative projects contributes to your well-being, both as an individual and as a community. And the second thing was to think about the role that arts, culture and creativity must play across every government department that impacts on Irish life. So that's a pretty big ask. When it comes to the reason that you're all here in the room, we were very lucky that we have both a Green Minister for the Environment and a Green Minister for Culture. And I'm joined by my colleague Darnie here and others. And obviously we believe passionately that there is no area of government policy where the arts, culture and creativity cannot make an impact. So we approached our two ministers and we said, you're doing a lot of stuff around climate action and culture is nowhere to be seen. And there's a wonderful quote from Amitav Ghosh, the writer, that the climate crisis is really a crisis of culture and of the imagination, and that it's going to be culture that's going to be part of what's going to save us. So with all of that in mind, our two Green ministers kind of took a leap and said, okay, let's see what that means. And I guess we're on a journey in the next few years. As Susie has said, we have about 40 projects. And they are both longer projects like this one of up to a year and a half, and some smaller ones where some communities just wanted to try something. And the range of creative approaches and the range of climate challenges is kind of mind-boggling. So it goes from dance of all kinds and climate change, theatre, visual art, rap, cooking, augmented and virtual reality, architecture. I mean, unbelievable. But also, often there isn't an awful lot of primacy put on the idea of a bit of crack and a bit of fun. Like, nobody wants to go to another boring public meeting. So we think that even if at the very least we're using creative approaches, we're bringing in people who wouldn't think it was for them. And we're also tackling a lot of different climate challenges. So obviously you've heard a lot about the issue of the loch here today. We have a smaller project over in County Louth looking at food security and some of the new communities that have settled in and around Dundalk and Carlingford and the kind of food that they eat. And with our changing climate, might we be able to grow it here, through to the kind of work that Martha is doing in the Maharees. And I think the one thing we've learnt from those projects is that we are really reliant and are leaning in on the shoulders of people who have done this before. So Martha was already a leading light with the other members of her community in what she was trying to do to save the dunes. And if we can layer in a creative element to that work, we're building on what's already there. And people like Susie, who've done massive amounts of work on climate change already, you will know from your communities that it is often the same 5 or 10 people who will do everything, but they are gold. They are absolute gold. And we're really relying on them because we can only do that when the communities themselves buy in. And so we're really curious to see how this is going to work here. One of the things that you won't often hear a government official saying is, we're really interested in failure. We're really interested in what doesn't work. Like, what would get the communities on both sides of the loch here working together better? What would unite the diving community, the farming community, people who've got nothing to do directly with the loch but enjoy it? Like, what kind of things would bring people together and kind of create the sort of amazing mehel and community spirit that we see down in the Maharees? So, we're interested in different creative approaches. We're interested in the voice of artists in all of this, that they can bring a different perspective, a different way of seeing things. I think that they can also help us to have some of the difficult conversations, because there are going to be difficult conversations to be had. And they're also just a more enjoyable way of grappling with these issues. So we're on a journey with you in this. We're going to be coming up and down. I'm definitely going to go diving. That's my next visit. But we're just very interested to see, how might this community come together? What would it like to do? And what is the role of arts and creativity in that process? So thank you so much for having us.